live. Hey, and welcome to this AMA session. I am Noemi, founder of ScaleWave, and let me quickly also go through LinkedIn. All right, we're live also on LinkedIn and also on Instagram. Cool. Okay, just a few moments to make sure that I have everything in front of me so I can follow up with everything on my end and be proactive. Amazing. Okay, that was not at all that space. Let me drink some. By the way, I was asked what I'm drinking. It is Twilight's peppermint tea with additional lemon and also some mint leaves. If you are interested in having that, it's such a good drink, refreshing. If you're not into peppermint, well, you've been offered at least. All right, cool. So, welcome everyone. My name is Noemi. I'm the founder of ScaleWave, and today's session is one of those sessions when we're answering all the Amazon PPC related questions, especially beginner questions. Those are the ones that we're prioritizing. Today is going to last for 1 full hour, and during this session, as I was saying, I'm prioritizing Amazon ads related question. However, if you have any business related question that is firing, hiring, SOP systems processes, strategizing even, more than happy to answer them. All those from the business point of view. Keep in mind that right now we are streaming on different platforms, different channels, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and also this is available for public view. Sometimes it's really funny when I'm seeing in the comment section that a video is starting to pick up and like so many comments are coming through that are totally not Amazon ads related, not even related to the topic itself, but like, who are you? Why are you talking like this? So on. Are you AI? Those are the most fun things to watch, and people are learning. Great to see. Amazing. So again, quick rundown of how today's session is going to be. We have a full hour dedicated for today's session. And during this session, we're going to answer all the Amazon ads related questions. Those are the ones that we're prioritizing. If you have any other questions that is business related, maybe about hiring, firing, SOPs, processes, systems in place, or simply just, hey, this is freaking hard. How do I make it work? Or how do I prioritize? I have personally all those questions. I'm asking them. So from all the experience that I gathered throughout the past 5 years since I said, no more, I want to transition into marketing and I want to be really good at marketing and have an agency on the side and also have my own brand. I asked all those questions. I messed up so many times. So my full purpose with this hour is to make sure that you're not going to mess up. You're being set up for success, and really important, letting you know that you are not the only one who's going through all the troubles, all the things that seemingly just hit the fan and happen. And guess who's responsible? You are responsible for all those things, because whenever you're in a leadership position, no matter who does what they are doing and how wrong they are, you are going to be held responsible because you are managing everyone. All right, cool. Happy to see that people are joining. Great to see that we are streaming live right now from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And I'm going to go quickly through the questions that already have been submitted. Some of the questions are still coming through. Those are also the ones that I'm going to answer shortly. But before even starting, I just want to share something that was really top of mind. And especially for the past 2 to 3 weeks, what I'm seeing is happening, especially in teams where there's either lack of leadership, either there's so many things going on, either lack of knowing what is going to move the biggest lever, and it comes down to prioritization. And I just jotted down a few ideas that I want to share with you, because what I'm seeing on my end, keep in mind that especially if you're not in a management position and if you're not skilled in how to lead people, how to prioritize, how to strategize, these are things that are not going to be common and they are not going to be obvious, and you will need to learn. As I was saying, prioritization is a skill, and more you're doing it, better you're becoming at it. Less you're doing it, less like worse you become at how to prioritize. So you're going to take up lots of tasks and lots of things that you should not. So based on that, again, I just want to share some of the things that I'm noticing, especially with teams where there's no clear prioritization. And this is based on discussions that I'm having with brands that we're managing, and we're managing their ads. And yes, while we are providing a service for them, I'm seeing more often the need of, hey, help me see clearly, because right now I am not seeing clearly, yet I need clarity. I need to prioritize. I need to focus on the right thing. So before we are getting deep into all the submissions of Amazon PPC related questions or Amazon ads related questions, here are some things that I'm seeing right now. What one major problem is when it comes down to prioritization is that there's no actual objective. There's no, for example, when it comes down to Amazon ads, when we're saying improving account performance, that is such a vague thing. It cannot be more vague than that. So instead of account performance, what you can do, or improving account performance, what you can do is analyze, okay, increasing contribution profit. That is one specific goal. Improving tacos while holding volume. That's again one specific goal. Launching 3 products while achieving efficient rank, for example. That's again one specific goal. Reduce wasted spend on non-strategic campaigns. Again, that is one specific goal. Improving cash conversion by aligning ads to inventory reality. Needless to say, yet it's still top of mind and still so hard for many marketers to understand that actual results when it comes down to ads, it has to do, especially if you're selling physical products, with inventory, and inventory management is a real deal. So as you can see from the, hey, I want to improve account performance, into what exactly do I want to achieve? Because once that you understand what you want to achieve, it's going to be way clearer for you. First off, do I have the resources to do that? Second, do I have the team in place? 3, do I realistically calculate that if I want to grow by two times or 3 times my account, do I have operationally all the items and all the skills for my team to achieve that? Because otherwise what is going to happen is that you're going to have these very big goals and they're too vague, and everyone is going to be so stressed out because they do want to make the goal reality, yet people won't know how to do it just because they either don't have the skills, either they don't have the leverage that comes through resources, either they simply don't have accountability from their managers to, okay, what's next was to prioritize. So again, if the goal is going to be unclear, prioritization is really impossible. The second thing that I noticed is separate outputs from outcomes. Now, what this actually means is that most teams are failing when it comes down to outcomes and aligning outcomes and outputs. And let me start with defining what outputs are. In this case, for example, output is, again, getting back to management, right? So campaigns launch, how many campaigns you launch, how many keywords you added, how many search terms you reviewed, how many creatives you refreshed, how many reports you delivered, how many meetings you had. Those are all outputs of what happened. Now, outcomes, when we are defining outcomes, we are defining them as more profitable revenue. That is a clear, did I move the needle, yes or no, right? So did we have more profitable revenue? Did we lower wasted ad spend? Did we have higher conversion for our top selling ASIN? Did we improve ranking? Did we have better inventory sell-through? Did we have a clearer learnings for future decisions? As you see, these are 2 things that seem to be treated so similarly, yet they are so different just because one shows busyness in achieving a goal. The other one shows, hey, actually trackability. Now that I know X, I'm going to do the next step, rather than, oh, these are all the things that I've done. Really, really important. And again, blunt truth here is that a lot of agencies and a lot of in-house teams, they're going to sell you on outputs because outcomes are really harder to achieve. Now, the third thing that I'm noticing is when it comes down to prioritization is rank work by expected impact, not by effort expected. And let me tell you what this actually means, or what we are seeing on our end. For example, a useful filter whenever you're going to go down into, okay, the work that you've done, is it meaningful, is it not? For every task, you would ask, what business outcome does this move? If it's moving a business outcome, that's great. It means that you are actually producing an outcome. It's not just output, right? How big is the likelihood of impact here? So if you're going to even do the small tasks and they seem to be adding up, that is like, look, I have a 20 task list done for the day, and versus, hey, I worked just on this one thing, but that is at the highest level for the business, it's going to have a bigger impact rather than all the things that you've managed to do during the day. Third question here is, how fast will we know if it worked? Now, this is, again, strategic thinking, but if you know clearly something is going to take 3 months, you're going to wait for the 3 months to work. You're not going to set up your expectation for 3 weeks to work. Because if you're setting up your expectation for 3 weeks to work, what you're going to do is, if you're managing a team, for example, you're going to set them up for failure just because you have wrong expectations from the actual output, right? You don't know, you're usually probably not counting for the things that are going to go wrong. Most people don't. So that is going to be, how fast will we know if it worked? It's a good question. It's a good filter for you to ask during this process. What is the downside if we do nothing? Very, very important question. And here, especially for very busy people who are just doing busy work, sometimes it can be that if you did the task, actually moved nothing. It did not damage, it did not improve, it did nothing. So if we are thinking this way, what is the downside if we do nothing? Most of the time, what you're going to see is, if you're doing nothing, some of the things that you're currently doing have no real impact. But other things like, okay, for example, if we needed inventory to send in and we did miss the deadline, and then now we are back, 2 weeks or 3 weeks just because we simply forgot to prioritize that task, that actually was a big lever mover in helping you achieve the goal, and you did not do it. And is this reversible? If anything is not reversible, clearly that is a high priority impact. If it's reversible, if it's not such a big deal that you did not manage to do it, again, that is going to tell you if it's important or not to do that task. So this is the next thing. Really, as you can see, much sharper view you have on urgent versus what is important is going to help you achieve that specific goal. Now, the fourth thing that I'm seeing, and here again, questions are still coming in, bear with me as I'm going to go through this one, because these are really important things that I'm seeing, and it's honestly strategic thinking that I'm charging for when it comes down even to brands. So hope that you appreciate that. The fourth thing that I'm seeing is really distinguishing between leverage work and maintenance work. Now, keep in mind that, for example, us as an agency, for us, we need to do both of them. We need to also do maintenance work and also do leverage work when it comes down to how do we manage an account. Because if you're charging ads, you cannot not create a new campaign and increase sales, PPC sales, right? Because PPC sales come from PPC campaigns and whatever you did on the ad side, right? So now distinguishing between these two, the leverage work versus maintenance work, it's a huge eye-opener, just because clear examples, like example would be here, fixing account structure so budget allocation improves. This is leverage work instead of I'm just going to maintain the budget at XYZ just because this is what it was told to me, right? Tightening measurement and reporting around contribution margin. Again, this is huge because most of the time, again, this is strategic thinking, this is strategic work. This comes down to not only you're a follower of I'm doing XYZ SOP, but rather than, okay, now I am doing XYZ SOP, but how does that, it's going to actually affect whatever I'm doing. Cleaning retail readiness issues, hurting conversion. This is, again, huge because what we can think of, most of the time what I'm seeing brands, they're just like, oh, ads, let's throw more money at ads. And some brands are ready for those that additional traffic, that additional exposure, but others are not, and they don't understand it, and they are like, okay, should we throw more ads, ad spend to it? And like, no, first let's fix the freaking main image, because we did not do any work on that, and that is really high leverage for us. And once that we've done that, okay, let's try the rest of the images as well, because then we're not going to trick, quote unquote, the customer just to click and then bounce to a different listing. And of course, prioritizing this for the main ASIN. So as you can see, it really adds value. And when it comes down to maintenance work, this is really important. This is something that keeps the machine running. We do need to optimize bits. We do need to negate. We need to negate targets that are not relevant. We do need to do search terms to see which search terms are working for us. We need to do which product actually is profitable or not. So these are important things. However, maintenance matters, but teams often drown in it just because it feels productive. So this is why I'm saying that it's great to have a system when it comes down to feeling productive while being productive, right? So that is the idea. And then here again, this can go longer and longer, and without taking additional time from people who were submitting their questions, I think that these are the few things that I'm seeing, especially right now, and right from the discussions that I'm having with brands that we're managing, or that just jumping on a free strategy call that we are offering before taking like over an account and handling them. These are the main things that I'm seeing those brands are missing, and it has nothing to do with they're not educated, they don't know what they're doing. Keep in mind, these are brands that are doing sometimes even millions, and it has to do just with the skill set. Did you acquire skills to be more priority focused, so you know exactly which are the things that you should be prioritized, which are the things you should not be prioritized, and which are the ones that are going to move the needle. Certainly, I hope that you found value in this one. Let's transition now into the questions that have been submitted. Okay, so we're going to go into the section where I'm going to read out the questions that I'm seeing here, either in the chat, either that has already been submitted, either someone just DM me and they're asking like these questions. So the questions that I'm reading out, those are the questions. Purposefully, we made them as simple as possible, so anyone who is going to be watching, they're going to understand exactly the questions. Sometimes I'm seeing that maybe it's not worded the correct way, or it's too long, and the actual question fades away. So if you will hear the question, you will say, hey, I actually asked this question, but I asked it in a different way. Be sure, and this is your question, is just structured in a way that is shorter, so it gets to the point. And hello there. Someone just said hi on YouTube. All right, cool. So can you explain Amazon PPC in a simple way so I understand how it actually works? Sure. So when it comes down to Amazon PPC or Amazon advertising, simply what we do via advertising, we bring traffic to something. And this is not only Amazon PPC, this is just general marketing. So we are bringing traffic to a specific product that we are aiming to sell, right? And here, when it comes down specifically to Amazon ads, we have a system that is going to help, the one who's bidding higher, that is the one that is going to win the bid, basically, and that is the brand that is going to be able to showcase their product. And because it is a bidding system, what we do, we are serving ads based on the bids that we are allocating to specific keywords or specific targets. By keywords, I mean specific words that someone would search with whenever they're looking for the product, or specific targets. Here, it can be even products that whenever they are looking up, for example, with this one keyword, the product, and they are scrolling through the product, underneath the product, your product will show up. Super easy. Let me know if that helped, but this is the simplest way how I can explain it to you. And yeah, going into the second question, how do I optimize sponsored display video campaigns so they actually perform well? Great question. When it comes down to sponsored display video campaigns and how would you optimize it, When it comes down to optimization, it's really important for us to understand how do we define optimization. Do we optimize towards profitability? So do we want to make sure that we want to get the cheapest sales possible with our ad efforts, or are we optimizing for scalability? Do we want to make sure that we're generating as much traffic to a listing as possible with our ads, video ads in this case, and making sure that we are going to stay top of mind and top of search? So when it comes down to optimization, now that we understand those two metrics, specifically when it comes down to video campaigns and when it comes down to sponsored display ads, video itself, just because it's video and it's dynamic, it's not going to be enough to attract. Yes, it's going to have a highly likelihood for someone to click on something that is dynamic versus on something that is static, especially when it comes down to the whole Amazon structure, the platform itself. Because think of yourself whenever you are shopping on Amazon, what you're seeing. Usually what you're going to say, it's you're going looking for one specific product. Let's say that I'm going to go for this glass can, or how can I define it? And it also has a glass straw. And it also has a bamboo lid. So probably those are the keywords that I'm going to find it with. Now, if it's me who's drinking something just like that, I delete with from the cup. This is more a pleasant experience. This is more a, hey, you want to click on that to see more, rather than it's just the image. Okay, so now we made the distinction between dynamic and static ads. Now, when it comes down to video ads, this is really important. It's a whole science, the whole psychology behind why would someone click within your ad. And keep in mind that, yes, if none of your competitors has video ads, then you would have the unfair advantage of you do have video ads. But when it comes down to not only you, but also 7 more of your competitors have their own ads, everything is dynamic. So then we have to narrow down on how do we optimize further. And there it's going to come down to what actually is going to make someone to click on my ad. So if you're a serious brand, probably if you're doing comic stuff and so on, people are just like, oh, okay, this doesn't really fit. But if you're serious, or if you're luxurious, and if you're luxurious throughout the whole ad, you're going to sell luxury feeling. You're not going to sell, hey, this is a product that is cheap, right? So in this case, let's say this is an item where people are not really paying attention to how much it is. Probably they want to have it very cheap, or as cheap as possible. But if you're a brand that has already brand recognition, let's say Coach bags, that's the first thing that's coming to mind, although I'm really not into like purses and so on. Whatever is associated with that specific brand, and I am associated with it, if they're going to have ads that are specific to, like these cheaper versions of bags and so on, probably it's not going to be as attractive for me, just because I'm looking for a luxurious feeling. So this is the way how we would be strategizing when it comes down to optimization. Summarizing this for you: first off, understanding what does optimization means. Second, understanding what's the difference between dynamic and static ads. And then third, what is my differentiator? What people know me about that I can bring within those visuals, those dynamic ads, that are going to make them even more believe that I am the right fit for them. Let me know if that helped. The next question, how can I use Amazon PPC together with Helium 10 to increase sales? All right, so Helium 10 is a third-party software. We are using it in our agency. Most people are using it. We're not direct affiliates to it. But when it comes down, how can you use Amazon PPC together with Helium 10? Really, I would say be more familiar with what exactly, have a clear goal. Why would you want to use a third-party software for your ads first off? Once that you have a clear understanding of that, then you would look into, okay, so which are the things that Helium 10 offers me in order to achieve those goals for my Amazon ads. Probably what is going to help with is keyword research, right? So you have the option of looking up specific keywords and the search volume, approximative search volume for that. And that is something that you can use. Or maybe you are looking up some of your competitors and you want to see how well are they doing, kind of what is their revenue, what is their best product, how are they thinking when it's coming down to branding. So that's also a way how you could use Helium 10 to actually PPC, because what you're going to have is specific keywords that are working well for them that you can also use within the campaigns. Those two can be some of the things that you can look into, the way how we would be using Helium 10 when it comes down to it. It could be also for rank tracking. If you have one specific keyword that you want to make sure that you're getting sales for and you're tracking organic ranking on that, you can use it for that. Again, it's a great tool. Would highly recommend you to check it out. Would also recommend you to not get lost into their content and tutorial, because they have a ton of things, and keep it at the goal. If your goal was to use it for Amazon ads, anything that is Amazon ads related, you should be looking only at that content. All right, what is the best way to get clients if I offer Amazon PPC services? Tell me. If you know how to do this, tell me, teach me. All right, so when it comes down to really getting clients, if you're offering Amazon PPC services, and here, hear me out loud. What I was thinking on 5 years ago, if I would have offered Amazon ads services to a brand that did not know much about Amazon, or they wanted to outsource this, they would have reacted differently, because the market was less competitive. It was less of a red ocean. People were just starting with ads. Ads were totally on a different level when it comes down to how ads are being served, what are the capabilities of the ad types that you can be using, and even what is the skill set that you would need for running ads. So 5 years ago, and actually we started in advertising, it was super, super easy when it comes down to, hey, I'm achieving these results right now and I can deal with that. What I'm seeing now after 5 years, to date is 2026, March 24, when I'm recording this. What I'm seeing is that brands have been burned so much by bad experiences, by bad agencies, by bad management. Brands have also been burned by so much of having such high expectations, again, based on we're going to do this and these are the amazing results and these are our case studies. So they've been burned on so many levels that right now, if I would go out, and even from the calls that I'm having right now, is I have to gain trust. I have to gain their trust. I have to gain why am I the best thing since sliced bread for them, right? And not only that, but also see where they are right now. Because most brands are, especially the ones that are not doing at least 7 figures, they're still figuring things out. And there's a reason why they are smaller, is because they don't know so much about ads. They're going to say, hey, this is the way how I want ads to run, and these are like, you're the strategies, but I'm actually the strategist too, so they are going to give away way less control, and then they're immediately, okay, after 1 week, do we have already performance report? How are we performing? Like, what is going on? And they are going to be very impatient when it comes down to results. On the other side, when it comes down to bigger brands, they understand that managing ads, it takes time. Just because they got the skill of, hey, me as a business owner, it took me 5 years to become really, really good at this thing, and I understand that whoever I'm partnering up with, whenever they're delivering, it realistically takes time even to gather data, right? And here, not promoting it takes someone 3 to 6 months to prove any results, but I'm saying that usually brands that are bigger and they have a bigger view, and not only Amazon, they are going to be way easier to work with. And also they have strict operators that you would directly work with, so not with the brand owner. Getting back again, best way to get clients is really know what your skills are and where are you in this spectrum. Because if you want to just gain knowledge and gain experience and so on, and if you're saying, hey, I'm not charging anything, I just want to learn and so on, probably brands are going to accept that. and give it a shot, give it a go. Keep in mind that for the past 5 years, since I'm seeing a red ocean of Amazon PPC agencies, Amazon PPC consultants, Amazon PPC services, and it's really a price battle. So if this is something that you actually want to do, I would question twice. And this is coming from an agency owner who, trust me, we've been through lots of things and lots of unpleasant experiences also with clients, not only pleasant ones, or more unpleasant ones than pleasant ones, just because, I just shared with you the reason why that happens. All right, the next question is, what does doing Amazon PPC well actually look like in practice? Oh, great question. So what does doing Amazon PPC well look like in practice? Defining clear goals and defining clear scope, and then executing on that scope, and then executing on that goals, and then staying accountable. This sounds like a like synergy, one of those words, but really it comes down to that, because what I'm seeing so far is you're going to define well in a specific way, and if for you well it's super ambiguous, everything what is expected of you, from you, is going to be very ambiguous. And for this specific question on doing Amazon PPC well, I would advise you, go at the beginning of the video, because I'm talking about prioritization, and all the topics that I am bringing lately at the beginning of these episodes is from me sitting down face to face with brands who are bigger brands and so on, and they're dealing with these issues. And then I'm just like thinking through, okay, how would I done this, and how could I help myself, my younger self, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, even, to think through these things and then apply these, so I have a strategic advantage of not learning from my own mistakes, but from someone else's. And this doing Amazon PPC well actually look like it's one of those things, because doing Amazon PPC well seems to be a defined goal. It is not. Doing Amazon PPC well can mean, how can I improve sales by 5%, 10%? How can I double my sales on the best-selling product within this quarter? What would I need inventory-wise? What is realistically my current bottleneck on the current listings that I have that I should be prioritizing? So if you see, it has to do more with strategic thinking rather than a checklist of what to do and what not to do. Let me know if that helped. Next question. What should I adjust in my PPC campaigns right after Prime Day? Prime Day, all right. So you're already thinking of Prime Day. To not be super topic specific, let me tell you on how we are adjusting Amazon ads, especially when it comes down to events like this. Prime Day, Christmas, holidays, super seasonality on something. So what are the things that we're looking for that is a clear sign that, hey, something is going to happen? Usually when it comes down to Prime Day or these specific events, is that everyone is trying to outbid you. And one of the things that we saw that are best when it comes down to how to prevent and how to make sure that you're not going to overspend is focusing on the things that actually work for your account. And hear me out loud here when it comes down to focusing on the things. If you have one specific keyword that works really well for you, focus on investing more budget on that keyword or on those search terms or on those campaigns, rather than just start everything and do everything. Because what is going to end up with, you're going to have this very static way of, oh, I'm doing all these things and I'm doing everything right because traffic is here and I should be there, my product should be there for everyone to consume. During these days, what we're seeing, it's the highest amount of clicks as possible because everyone is pushing sales, lightning deals, and so on. And what is happening is that usually the audience, they're not going to shop right away, but what they're going to do is they're going to add it to the cart, save it for later, and so on, and then shop afterwards. So unless you are selling a product for $50 and right now you are selling with a huge discount of $10, $20 even, then people might be converting right away because they are going to see, oh, this is such a good offer, I cannot miss out. But what we're seeing, and especially right after Prime Days and right after these events, is going to be a huge traffic increase. So lots of clicks, no sales, but lots of clicks. And then sales are going to pick up and profitability is also going to pick up. So just keep that in mind whenever it comes down, not only to Prime Days, but usually whenever there's certain holidays or certain bigger events that are either sales drops, limited offers, lightning deals, and so on. That is something that we're seeing on our end. Next question. What are the key steps to properly optimize my Amazon ads over time? What are the key steps to properly optimize Amazon PPC campaigns over time? Kind of the same question. So when it comes down to optimization, again, we have to define optimization, because if we don't understand what optimization means, we're going to just reduce bids. That is not optimization. So when it comes down to proper way to optimize your campaigns over time is, where are you in the journey? Is this a product launch? Is this a new campaign launch? Are you gathering data? Do you already have proof for that data that already works? Are you trying to keep certain positioning for that data? Are you trying to keep certain placement for that data? It's really important, because based on that, you're going to optimize either towards profitability, either towards scalability. So here, what I would do if I was you, to ask this question just a bit more defined, I would ask, where am I currently within my journey with this campaign? Is it a new campaign? Do I need to get as much traffic as possible, so I'm gathering data? Is it an older campaign where I want to hit specific outcomes, specific ACOS targets, specific ROAS target? Or where am I currently? Or is this a campaign that is bringing constantly sales? Already it's working well for me, but I never looked into maybe placement modifiers on which placement am I converting best. So those would be the next questions for me to understand how to optimize. And then once I understood that, I would prioritize optimization. Is this optimization towards profitability? Do you want to get cheaper sales, aka, or is it for scalability? And scalability, it's still, you want to get cheaper sales with the trajectory of bringing more sales for that campaign, but knowing that probably at the first few days while you are still gathering more market share, it's going to cost you more. Okay. Next question, what should I look at when performing a full Amazon PPC audit? Love the audit question, and this is one of those questions that if you ask me 5 times, during 5 different times, I'm going to give you 5 different answers. Letting you know that we do have a specific process when it comes down to, or system when it comes down to how we are auditing internally. And we're still auditing internally every account that we are handling, and we're auditing it 3 times per week. So probably the question that you're asking, it's not so much about how are we doing it, but probably you're asking, you are performing a full account audit and maybe you want to take an account over and so on. Really important. And this is really advice that I hope more advertisers are looking into, because from an advertiser's point of view, you always want to prove your skill set on how good you are, what are all the mistakes that you've seen, how badly is this account managed, how worse it's doing, and so on. And maybe you have just not the full picture, because if you're doing so, you might not even ask, hey, does this person wants to be profitable? Are they on product launch? Are they gathering market share? So if you don't have the context, whatever you're seeing is an X-ray of whatever happened previously within the account, or whatever is happening right now within the account. And here, when it comes down to audits, what is really important, especially if I'm thinking back to the brands that we took over, managed successfully, and they were no-brainer for them to, hey, this is the perfect agency partner that I want to partner up with to manage my ads. It was always from the point of view, what is important for them? Because if you're never asking that question, you're just going to push your, sales pitch of, this is what I'm seeing, this is how much money am I going to save you, this is what I. And sometimes it might be true that you are seeing all those patterns that they are not, and you are going to save them money, or you're going to see opportunities for them they are not seeing at that point. However, when it comes down to audits right now, the way how I'm seeing it, rather than whenever we're performing an audit for a brand, is whatever are the opportunities based on their current limitations they're not taking advantage of. Now, when we are auditing our own brands on a weekly basis to see how close, how far are we from a specific goal, the way how we're doing it is way different, because then we have we know why are we doing it, we know what are we looking for, and we are tracking back our progress. Let me know if that helped. Okay, we have 20 more minutes to go. I'm going to drink some more tea because my throat is dry. Okay, getting off. Okay, whoever is asking if I'm AI, hopefully now you are noticing my very frequent human in the how do you call it, loop of not really being super this is the way how you're doing it and so on and so forth, and just super flawed when it comes down to public speaking. As you can see, it's cool, funny that whenever someone is joining and so a new viewer is joining, it's exactly that's when it's happening. I'm messing up. Okay, back to the questions. Again, if you just joined, hey, my name is Noemi. I am the founder of Scaleway. We are specialized in Amazon ads. Today's session is all about Amazon ads, responding all the questions that are submitted right now, both on LinkedIn, YouTube, and also Instagram. And if you just drop by, welcome. If you're a business owner, welcome. Let me know in what industry you're in. More than happy to chat. And that's our cat Hugh, who says hello. Where do I check results and performance for my Amazon? So the next question is, where do I check results and performance for my Amazon PPC campaigns? In your ad console, ideally. That's where you would check all those things. For you to be able to use Amazon ads, you should have an Amazon ad account created. And there is where you're going to see all the results and the performance for the account. Next question. How do I launch a product using PPC to get traction quickly? Product launch is one of those things that are really, really important to not mess up. By not mess up, I'm meaning to have clear goals when it comes down what is the expectations from your product launch, because most people are expecting that just because they launch the product, they immediately have to be profitable. I'm here to tell you that 99% of the cases, it was not the case. I'm aware that lots of content, especially on YouTube, especially... Okay, so someone wants to be shown on the camera. There you go. Okay, that's Hugh, our cat. Hope that you like him. He likes you. And this was the small distraction. Let's see if it's bringing additional views or not. 2 additional people joined. Okay, you can do better. Come on. No more meowing, no more nothing. Okay, good. So getting back to your question, when it comes down to product launching, what we're seeing on our end is that most brands are really unrealistic when it comes down to product launches, because they're assuming that only the best things are going to happen to their account. And here, I just also had a discussion with a brand that we're managing, and they are looking to bring additional products to the market. And I was like, all right, so first off, do we have demand for the product? Because if we don't have demand for the product launch itself is not going to work, just because people are not interested in that specific item that you're selling on Amazon. So even that simple fact of not checking that the product is in demand on Amazon is going to not help you having traction quickly, because you're assuming that everyone who is on Amazon is going to look for your product and that you're solving a need. Maybe that you're solving a need, but probably it's not looked for or searched for in demand on Amazon. So that is the first thing. And once that you figured out that there is demand for it, Next is going to be how much traffic are you generating towards, and how profitable does that how profitable is that traffic going to become over time. Keep in mind that if you are launching a product, you have no track record unless you already have brand recognition on other platforms, which still it's a good thing. So I would take a look at those factors before even launching a product, because you are asking about to get traction quickly. It's not so much about getting traction quickly. It's if there's no demand for something, and if you don't have inventory, even more important, no matter what you want to do quickly, you are not going to be able to get traction. The second thing is going to be important, bidding. Amazon ads are based on a bidding system. The one who bids the highest usually and it's most relevant is going to win the placement. So that's also important. Right, next question. How does the daily budget actually work in Amazon PPC campaigns? Okay, I asked for beginner questions. I'm getting all the beginner questions. Love it. So when it comes down to daily budget, imagine it as if I am going, let's say that you're going to run ads, and the way how you would think of it on a monthly basis, how much money would I need in order to achieve X results. The X result here it is to generate at least enough traffic to my listing to prove that this product converts or not. And for that, the way how we would deal with daily budget allocation, we would allocate working backwards. If I have a monthly spend of $5,000, we would allocate that monthly spend of $5,000 divided into 30 days. Maybe even easier for the sake of math, it's going to be $3,000. It's going to be $100 per day. So this is kind of the way how we would strategize for budgets. Now keep in mind that just because you have a budget, it doesn't mean that you're not going to spend more or less than the budget. Okay, very cool question. I'm going to take a quick screenshot. So it's going to be saved and added here to the list. It's asking, I want to reduce my CPC for a keyword. Can this be achieved only by decreasing the bid, or are there any other effective methods as well? Guide, please, thanks. Of course, so when it comes down to reduction, the fastest way is really decreasing the bid. But when it comes down to decreasing the bid and you're reducing the CPC, keep in mind that you cannot force Amazon to, just because you want to reduce your bid and you want a lower CPC, to offer a lower CPC and get the same results. So what I would ask here in this scenario, you do want to reduce your CPC, so cost per click for a keyword. If you're going to decrease your bid, it is your first step to see where does the ad is going to show up, so placement, right? And then a second thing, if it's still viable for you to, if a $10 CPC, you had 10 clicks, you spent $100, but the product is, let's say, $100, probably converted in one sale, at least you have a clear conversion of, okay, I know how much would I need to pay. And then you would say, all right, so now that I understand this, I am willing to pay $8. But if the $8 that you're paying, it's not going to position you still in the same placement, and people are not going to react to your ad the same way how they reacted whenever your bid was $10, it means that yes, you reduced the bid of the keyword, so your CPC is going to be lower, but it's not going to convert. So this is one of the ways how I would think it through. So yes, you can reduce, decrease bids. Also, what else you can do, and especially I would do this for, I would question if that keyword is actually important for me to go for, and what is my conversion rate, and really important, where do I show up organically for it, and am I relevant for it? Because if you don't have those factors, it doesn't really matter if you're reducing the bid, because you will still become irrelevant, right? So those are the technical things. The next things that I would look into right now, this keyword that I'm bidding for, whenever I'm bidding for that keyword, the CPC, again, $10, How am I converting? How quick am I converting? Do I have a 10% conversion? Is there a way for me to achieve maybe a 20% conversion? And then you are going to look into the keyword exactly that I'm using, and these customers who are typing that keyword and that are purchasing my product with, is there a way for them to convert them quicker? And then we're going to look into the listing side. Is the listing answering all the questions that they might have? Is the listing having high quality images that is answering again all the questions they might have? Are you making sure that all the creatives are involved, that you have a great main image, that you have great rest of images, that you have A plus content, that you have a video even? Again, all those, are they answering as quick as possible someone's question who would consider my product? Those would be the three levers that I would look into. First off, technically, seeing if you're reducing bid, is that something that actually going to still make you show up on the platform? Second, I would look into technically what are your advantages when it comes down to making sure that you are still going to be relevant for that keyword and is something that you should be bidding for. And then the third thing is, what non-Amazon levers can I have and implement to increase my conversion? Because if you're increasing your conversion, technically you don't have to reduce the cost per click, you just have to convert quicker than you converted beforehand. Let me know if that answered the question. Okay. So the next question is, and we still have a few minutes left to go. Can a product realistically sell on Amazon without PPC advertising? Yes. So, of course, it can sell without PPC advertising. If there's demand already for the product, you can sell without advertising. However, what we're seeing on our end, really Amazon became a platform, a pay-to-play platform. And if you're not willing to play for a specific placement, really there's no way for someone to see your product. So what I'm seeing more and more is for you to be visible on the platform, for you to protect your own branded keywords even on the platform, for you to protect your own product on the platform. You will still have to engage in advertising. That is something that I'm seeing on my end. And also, when it comes down to PPC, without PPC advertising, say that you already have brand recognition and people genuinely, whenever they are looking for your brand and for your product, they are going to buy your brand and your product. Now, in Scale, we do have a specific strategy that is called Conquered, which is we are piggybacking on brands and products that are not well optimized or they are not advertising for their own branded name. And this is not something specific that what we would be doing, but this is something that your competitors are doing to you as well. So that's why I'm saying that, yes, it is realistically to sell without ads, but the idea is that if you have such an amazing platform where you can get so much traffic, to sell as much as possible by leveraging ads. Next question, I'm not very clear about it. It says, where can I see the keywords associated with my Amazon PPC ads? So if you're looking into the specific search term someone typed when they were looking for your product and found your product, you would find this in the search term report. Let me know, give me some more clarity on the actual question, but that is the first thing that I can think of right now. Next question is, how do I check the percentage of placements in Amazon ad reports? It's tricky. You can check this in bulk files. If you're not familiar with bulk files, probably this is going to take a while. What I would advise is, first off, go and familiarize yourself with where do they show up in the ad console, and this would show up between placements. And then if it comes down to bulk files, you would download your bulk files. And again, there is a placement column. And in this case, make sure that you're not going to have any filter on. Placement usually is going to show up, and then it's going to be 0 as default. And where you have specific placements added, it's going to show up percentage of the placement that you added. Let me know if that helped. Okay, 4 more minutes to go. Wrapping up on my end. Last question that I'm answering is, does running PPC campaigns or does running ads, PPC ads, actually help improve organic ranking? It does if it's converting for the specific keyword that you were targeting. Clear example, if I love to use products that are right in front of me. So right now I have the pink body mist, coconut and cream in front of me, and this is a Victoria's pink product, so Victoria's Secrets, for example. That could be a good keyword. So in this case, if someone is looking for Victoria's Secrets, and for them it's really important to be a pink body mist, everything what's coming up with pink body mist and you are converting for it, organically it's going to show Amazon that you are relevant for that specific keyword. So they're going to push your product for that keyword because it converted in sales. Keep in mind that for Amazon it's really important that you are being relevant, not only that someone is clicking within your ad, because they're making money the moment that you are selling the product too, not only when you're advertising it, but you're selling it too. So in a nutshell, in very high level or high, very beginner friendly way, yes, it's going to be very important for you to not only look at the keywords that you're advertising, but to also convert for those keywords, because that's something that's going to help you with organic ranking, improving organic ranking especially. Okay. Okay, one more good question I'm going to take, because I think this is important and it's strategic and it's beginner enough friendly to have it within these sessions. The question is, what do you recommend? Should I launch exact match campaigns on long tail keywords? And then it gives me the keywords, or should I launch exact match on generic keywords? So really important, again, I'm not recommending anything besides whenever you're coming down to strategy, you have to know what is your goal and what is your budget. If your budget permits you to go for specific keywords that are broader keywords, but you want to generate more traffic, keep in mind, if it's a broad, more generic keyword, you're competing against all the people who are using the same broad, more generic keyword, even if it's highly relevant. Now, if it's a longer tail keyword, excuse me, if it's a longer tail keyword, it's really important. What is the search volume for that? Because if your search volume is too low for that, and if you're in product launch phase, doesn't matter how high you're bidding, because you're not going to get the eyeballs that you want for that keyword to convert. So what I would do in this case is I would be very curious to see where do you categorize yourself, because if, for example, if you would have more generic keyword and you would target that more generic keyword, yet you're getting more traction from it and you have a competitive advantage. Example, your product is showing up and you are cheaper, your listing looks better, it does answers all the questions that one might have when considering that product, you might actually have better sales or better conversion on something that is more generic instead of something that is super specific. So what I would do in this case, I would honestly just run both of them and see where do I convert better. And it's not a question or if or should I, which one should I do, more longer tail or more generic? I would run both of them because both of the keywords that you gave are highly relevant for your product still, and then see which one converts quicker, which one has a higher CPC, which one is something that actually is generating sales. Because keep in mind, we are so much overthinking on, should this be long tail, should it be more generic, should, when your question is, hey, how do I competitively compare to anyone who's selling with that keyword? Let me know if that answered the question. Cool. All right, I'm wrapping up. Thanks so much for everyone watching. Thanks so much for everyone joining. Okay, let me just drink one more sip so I can finish strong. So thank you so much for everyone joining. Thank you so much for all the questions submitted. Thank you so much for staying so much on topic. It was a pleasure as always. Please make sure that you're also going to follow me if you enjoyed this one. And if you have any questions, or if you are right now running a brand or you are operating a brand and you have any questions when it comes down to what is next, how to strategize, how to prioritize, I would love to jump on a quick call. Full disclosure, yes, we are providing Amazon ad services, and yes, we are still taking up clients. However, we become way more, we are filtering way more people, whoever they are reaching out and so on. You're more than welcome to join on one of these free strategy calls where we can just go through, okay, what is happening within the account. And if we see a good fit both for you and for us, more than happy also to help you with your Amazon ads. That being said, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate you as always. Be good, stay safe and healthy. Take care. See you next week on Tuesday from 1 p.m. EST when I'll be back. Okay. Bye.